I covered the Golden Age Green Lantern, Alan Scott, and talked about how now he's an openly gay man, and a lot of folks are like, well, why did that retcon happen, and what does it add to his story? The fact that we can see Alan Scott now say that he is an openly gay man is the story. And we see that story play out in the Alan Scott Green Lantern 6-issue run from 2023. The story takes place in World War II, where Alan Scott finds himself in love with a man and confused about this, but as confusing as it is, he knows it's his truth. And then we see how that truth was weaponized against Alan Scott by J. Edgar Hoover, who had photos of Alan Scott with his lover and was blackmailing him. This retcon to Alan Scott not only gives you a brand new story, but also makes this Golden Age hero more modern. Also, Alan Scott now being a gay man lets people that are gay be able to see themselves within this hero, where they couldn't before. Some folks familiar with the character were saying, well, this is stupid because he had a wife and he has 2 kids. Well, first off, there are a lot of older men that are closeted because the time they were in didn't allow for them to be openly gay. In other words, loving someone of the same sex was a sin, or could put you in danger if you showed that. Secondly, art imitates life. There are older men in the real world that had the same story as Alan Scott. They loved someone of the same sex, but it wasn't allowed, so they married, had children. Survival meant not going against the norm. Because when folks see something against their norm, they have 4 choices. They can accept it, they can be scared of it, they can insult it, or they can't understand it. I was surprised that so many people were still fans of Alan Scott, this Golden Age hero. Alan Scott being gay isn't going to get rid of those real fans. They'll be excited to see these other parts of Alan Scott's story, these other parts that were hidden away. We see this happen with other comic book characters as well. Iceman from the X-Men was outed by Jean Grey as being gay. Tim Drake, the best Robin, is bi. And there are folks with the perspective of, well, why don't you make a new gay character? Leave these old characters alone. Don't change them. But change is how we get new stories. Also, comic book limbo is riddled with new gay characters, new black characters that never stuck. In my eyes, when a mainstream character embraces a new aspect of their sexuality, it means something more because they have longevity and they aren't just going to be gone into comic book limbo. And more importantly, that opens the door for new fans to come in because they now see themselves in this hero because they identify the same way. And here in America, when you consider the climate we're living in and the climate we're going to be going into, I'm excited that stories like these are still happening, and I hope they continue to do so as well. When we see a comic book character's sexuality change, it's something that should always be handled with care, because now that character is going to mean something to a different set of people, and they should be represented respectfully. And I should point out the obvious that I am a cis hetero man speaking about these issues when there are folks that actually do it way better, like Black Gay Comic Geek, who is a Black Gay Comic Geek and tagged in this as well. Black Gay Comic Geek has a bunch of videos covering these topics because they bought that life and lived that life. And again, it's dope to see a character go through a change like this because it represents so much to a bunch of other different people that didn't get that representation before. You don't have to understand it, just don't stand in the way of comic books becoming more inclusive, because it's not a bad thing, it's the best thing.